We have been married for 20 years. My wife is 44 years old, and I am 43 years old. When I was a junior and she was a senior in high school, we began dating. While I was in high school and attended community college for a year, we were separated for her first 2 years of college. After a year of attending college in the same city, we got married the summer following my graduation from college and have been living together ever since. Although our marriage has been going well so far, I filed for divorce after I found out that she had been having many affairs during our 2 years of long-distance marriage. We got together with some of her college buddies right after Christmas to catch up, go to dinner, and just chill out. We discussed many topics, and my wife brought up the fact that we had met in high school, not that we were romantically involved, just that we had. It's funny that we met in high school, had a wild few years in college, and ended up together, her former roommate from college said. Playing along, I said something like, I wonder if my wife is as crazy as I am. My wife interrupted the roommate mid-story to say she wasn't comfortable with what she was saying. We actually started dating in high school, and we were together during my wife's entire college career, I said, sensing something wasn't right. My wife's friends all fell silent, and the remainder of the meal was unpleasant. One of her other roommates pulled me aside on the way out, telling me that I ought to have an open discussion about what transpired at college. On the way home, I questioned my wife about it, and she kind of shot me down. She repeated her claim that it didn't matter when I told her that it was crucial that she be honest with me. I promised her when we came home that I would remain at my brother's house until she was comfortable talking to me about what had transpired at college. She came over the following day and confessed to having slept with other men during her first 2 years of college. We were far away, and she didn't think a high school romance would continue, so she stated she didn't think it was a big issue at the time. When I pushed for further information, she revealed that it involved at least 10 different men, at least 3 of whom she had presented to me as acquaintances during my weekend visits, and one of whom she was still in contact with. I informed her that I was going to file for divorce as soon as I could, and on January 2nd of this year, I did just that. Her family and the majority of my family advised me not to end my marriage because of a few indiscretions. Regardless of the time period, I have remained steadfast in my conviction that being unfaithful to me for years is unacceptable. She was being extremely disrespectful to me by continuing to be in relationships with these guys in front of me. Our 2 kids are older now, they are 17 and 19, but I think they will understand that I have to dissolve the marriage. Is it wrong that I left? The amount of people telling me to ignore decades of lies and years of infidelity makes me feel like I'm going insane. No, I don't think you are at all incorrect, OP. It is unethical to cheat. It makes no difference when it occurred, and all of these rationalizations and justifications for you to ignore it. Oh, it was 20 years ago. Oh, you guys were long distance. Oh, I didn't think the relationship would go as far as it has, are completely meaningless. All it does is demonstrate to you how willing your wife is to lie to you for more than 2 decades. What would have occurred if she had come clean, I dunno, a few months before the wedding? You most likely would have called it quits on the relationship since infidelity is wrong. However, she chose to act as though it had never happened. It doesn't matter if it's a battalion of males outside her dorm or just a one-night stand, in my opinion. It is unethical to cheat. That's it, it's either a 0 or a 1. Therefore, once more, OP, no, I don't believe you are at fault. Just be really cautious when you sit down to talk to your kids about this. You never know what they might say them if your family is asking you to brush it off. And what are your thoughts on the decision made by the OP? Tell me in the space provided for comments. Let's now see what the community has to say by reading through the comments. Ali Up says, if she wants to do the work to remain in your life in any capacity, that's up to you guys. You should absolutely do what you need to do to feel comfortable with your way forward. She robbed you of your agency for 20 years and then invited people who had violated you into your life. I don't blame you for feeling whatever way you do. Hope you and your children can navigate this as well as possible. And if there is a way you can live happily in whatever capacity with your wife, then I'm all for that too. Do what's best for you, F*** how anyone else feels. Wishing you the best. And OP responds, it would change a lot if I felt that she wanted to fix this. Throughout our conversation about it, she repeatedly dismissed my feelings and told me I was overreacting to totally normal behavior. She didn't show any regret or consideration for how it hurt me until she realized I was serious about divorce. Then she got defensive and angry. She didn't offer to fix things in any way until I started the paperwork and notified her that I had a lawyer. I think we can navigate being parents. Our kids are older, and I've been putting away money for college or post-high school for a long time, so a lot of the custody and monetary issues that come up shouldn't be a big problem. We're also both financially stable and make good money. Okay, Educator 1797 says, she cheated and lied to you, then maintained contact with at least one of her F-buddies and introduced you to many of the guys that were banging her. This is not only dishonest but cruel. I think you are 100% in the right. Who knows what else she's done? You have no way of knowing. Static Cloud says, if she slept around in college and told you about it and you reconciled, no issue there. But she kept it from you. She kept in contact with one she introduced you to, her flings as friends at the time. That's completely messed up. You are right to divorce her. She lied to you for 20 years. Years. She occasionally shows you no regard. To add to what OP just said, I've engaged a lawyer. He sent her a copy of the intent to separate that he had written via certified mail. To the best of my knowledge, that is merely a step in the process to provide her the chance to retain legal counsel if she wants to challenge it rather than a formal divorce document filed with the state. The divorce process itself will probably take several months. Actually, I'm not moving out. My brother and I have been bunking together while I prepare for a more permanent housing situation. In terms of timing, the meal took place on December 26th. That evening, I went to my brother's house to decompress and allow her some space to reflect. Over the course of 4 or 5 days, we had multiple conversations during which she expressed her belief that she had done nothing wrong. I would have probably waited if there had been any sorrow, remorse, or basic regard for how I felt on her end. Still, she chose not to. I then located a divorce attorney, and he provided me with a boilerplate intent to separate agreement, which we promptly completed and sent. We're clearly not legally divorced even now, and I'm not even sure if my state recognizes the legal concept of separation. However, I've initiated the process and made it apparent that this is happening. OP's edit asterisk. While I can't respond to every query or remark, I wanted to address some often asked questions with some information. I submitted this because my wife and a couple of friends had been telling me that I'm kind of the odd one out for not sleeping around while you're in a long-distance relationship, and that it's normal to sleep with other people. Though you were the reason I felt like I was being gaslighted, I was in need of an outside viewpoint. Since there is a waiting period in our state before a divorce can be finalized, I thought it would be prudent to have some understanding before making any decisions. Following these remarks, I observe that some people, though presumably a sizable minority, admit that sleeping around is common in long-distance relationships. During the 2 years of college, we saw each other a few weekends per month. It was a great trip, but not as far as cross-country, as I lived around 3 hours away from her college. We did not have a situation where we were separated for months on end. The 3 boys I met throughout her time in college occurred to meet each other at parties. Since we didn't really talk about me being a boyfriend, I'm not sure whether these men were aware of anything. One man from college that we both still keep in touch with is the other. We've been having regular conversations for years with this guy, not some dude she sends flirtatious texts to on the side. Since finding out about my wife, I've spoken to him a few times. He claims to have blocked my wife on social media and that he was unaware that we were dating at the time. Some people have questioned how the roommates missed the fact that the time frames didn't line up at our wedding. The main reason is that after having a tiny ceremony in Texas with only immediate family, my wife and I returned to the East Coast to throw large celebrations with friends. Her roommates were unaware that we had begun dating prior to college because the customary welcome and disclosure of information about how we met and other things didn't actually occur. They seemed to believe that we moved in together after dating for a year when we were both in the same city. Her insistence that this is all normal and that I'm the one who's out of line is simply too much for me to handle, even if I was open to counseling or trying to save the marriage. She never apologized or even made the effort to make amends until I started filing documents. She has returned to stating that I'm overreacting and that she is correct for the past week. I also think I'm being gaslighted because of this. Although it's clear that this is a serious problem, my wife and other people tell me I'm overreacting and it's normal. I refuse to get a paternity test done unless my children request one. They are unquestionably my biological children, and no amount of testing will change that. The world cannot take away my love for them, and my wife's adultery won't make it any less. They've been my kids for 19 years, and they will be my kids until I stop breathing, even though one or both of them are not biologically mine. OP's final edit *. Hi everyone, I've been going through a lot of the comments, but I probably won't be checking in here much longer because things are getting insane and increasingly out of control. I've seen some additional answers to frequently asked questions here. At the time, we were unquestionably dating exclusively. First off, dating customs were very different 20 or so years ago, and most people assumed that being exclusive was the norm. Secondly, we had a protracted and challenging conversation regarding her long-distance relationship before she departed for college. She even made a joke about her parents getting after me if I started sleeping with females at my school, indicating that she really wanted us to stay together. She was unable to attend my senior prom, so when I suggested going with a platonic female friend, she became really furious. I ended up hanging out with her instead of going to prom as a result. Even though we never used the word exclusive, I believe that the general relationship we had before she left, along with the aforementioned factors, are sufficient to infer exclusivity. I followed up with the buddy who suggested that we have an honest chat in light of the remarks made here. 10 males would be on the low end, she informed me, and the thing that worried her the most was that there seems to have been at least one pregnancy scare that I was unaware of. To be honest, not much changes in that regard. For me, it's more about her seeming inability to understand why this was wrong or why I feel deceived than it is about the amount. I appreciate all of the insightful comments, even the ones who don't agree with me. Even though I genuinely believe that therapy would be more about us becoming effective co-parents and achieving closure than it would be about preserving our marriage, I will still be open to it if she is willing. Okay, so the community is in agreement that OP ought to leave this situation. As for the co-parenting treatment, OP was rather detailed in providing us with the extra background to paint a full picture of all that is happening. Let's go on to the update to find out how the tale concludes. Firstly, I would naturally like to ask that if you enjoy this video, please hit the like button, make a comment, and, if you haven't already, subscribe. Let's get on with the update now. Let me start by discussing what I discovered about the situation while attending college, which I discovered via contacting 2 of my wife's roommates and having sessions with her. Her roommates were obviously aware that something was wrong at college. They declared that they believed the case to be strange and probably involved cheating. They never really brought it up because my wife had told them that we both had crazy moments in college and that we worked it out before we were married. My roommate, who recently pulled me aside, wanted me to know that my wife had obviously not discussed it with me and was uncomfortable about it. It seems that one of the guys was not supposed to be introduced to the guy she slept with. He eventually started dating and eventually got married to a college buddy of ours. This is the man she communicated with in the previous circumstances. In the counseling sessions, she blamed me at first, but she has since acknowledged that it was wrong. She intended for us to spend our time together alone in the room when I visited, but I wanted to attend a few parties since I didn't really have many to attend in high school or community college. She didn't think I would end up with the males, but because they were at the gatherings, she didn't think she had much of an option. Although I still find this kind of awful, it's not as horrible as her purposefully making me look terrible in front of the boys. We've spent most of our therapy sessions discussing why I think it's important and she doesn't. At first, she claimed that none of these males were in a committed relationship with her and that they were primarily friends with benefits or one-night stands. She didn't see the big concern because she didn't consider them as romantic partnerships. Not mine, but hers. We never said that was acceptable, in my perspective, and she purposefully stopped me from doing the same. My wife now acknowledges that there was a relationship and trust breakdown after looking into this over the course of 2 sessions and speaking with certain friends. I'm excited about co-parenting because this shared understanding has allowed us to discuss this topic more openly and go from fighting to discussing. Here's why I'm determined to get a divorce. I wanted to end the marriage because of 2 things that happened. First, we had a dead bedroom for nearly 2 years at a particularly difficult time about 10 years ago. I made an effort to liven things up because she had mentioned that our sexual life was getting monotonous. Just role play and like sex toys on a Spencer's gift level, nothing extreme. She seemed to be fixated on certain college-related sex experiences that she feels awkward discussing and wanted me to try them. When I did, she thought about other men while she was with me and felt uncomfortable and guilty. I can tell these incidents meant more than she wants to acknowledge because even though she claims they have no significance, they are still having an effect on our marriage. Second, she acknowledged that ever since the pandemic ended, she had been making out with coworkers when traveling for business. Although she claims to have never slept with anyone, she does admit to having a date with a male coworker. For me, that was the deal breaker. Yes, it's only a date, so you can believe a liar, of course. We've informed our kids that we're divorcing. We explained to them that we're finding it difficult to get past some poor choices we made throughout our time in college. While my wife was away at college, my 19-year-old asked me if I had cheated on her. After feeling a little rattled up, my wife told the kids that she had cheated. We've made a deal not to give the youngsters any more information. I reaffirmed that the kids would always come first for us, and that we would be attending therapy to ensure that we handled the situation in the family's best interest. I also assured the children that I would be more than happy to support them in talking to one of us or a professional about it. If nothing changes, we should be able to have an amiable divorce. We've started speaking with a mediator about how to move forward with the divorce. Since our children are older and neither of us has significant debt, custody is not a big concern. We are both financially secure on our own. I've had a rough few months, but I'm doing better now. In fact, I'm happy that my previous post went viral since it encouraged me to see my wife for counseling and helped me feel validated for some of the things I was feeling. OP's edit asterisk a few remarks in reaction to feedback. I am aware that she most likely cheated more than she has acknowledged after our past dead bedroom incident and her date with a coworker surfaced. I came to terms with the fact that this had most likely been going on for the duration of our marriage. Not because I'm a fool and think she's speaking the whole truth, but I'm not ignoring it. I know enough about the real world to know that this is the appropriate choice and that it goes beyond college. Nothing will change even if you add more details. Many individuals have asked in numerous messages, in this post, and in the previous article, whether a hall pass would help to resolve issues. It won't. More cheating, in my opinion, won't make the trust problems go away. Although that might have worked for someone else, I don't think it will be helpful to us. Our counselor and my soon-to-be ex are aware of the Reddit posts. I told them straight out about it. This has helped me process things because I've kept it anonymous enough that I doubt anyone would figure out who I really am. To be honest, it has helped me to see all sides of the story, and my wife was able to better appreciate some of my sorrow and aggravation by reading the comments on the previous post. Though I don't think posting all these information on Reddit is the best course of action, I don't have many close friends with whom I can discuss things that aren't also friends with my wife, so this is sort of a method for us to work things out. To be honest, I don't think I can contribute much more to this. You have expressed everything that comes to mind, and you intend to do what needs to be done. I'll just wish you luck in your impending divorce on that note. I hope everything goes well and that she plays fairly. Opie, I appreciate you sharing and take care. Let's round up this video with a little uplift. Post asterisk Hovis Mavis is the user who posted this on the Petty Revenge subreddit. When I ordered a drink, the bartender laughed. My 14-year-old son and I were watching football in the evening in a tavern while on vacation. Although I don't drink much, I do like a cocktail occasionally when I travel. The waiter returned and inquired about our drink preferences. When I ordered a piña colada, she kind of chuckled at me and said, "Okay," before heading off to make it. This somewhat irritated me. I'm just a mature dude that enjoys a good martini. What is the issue with that? I got my little payback when she returned the drink. She looked scared and attempted to hastily move out when I added, "My mom loved these. God rest her. I always have one on the anniversary of her death to remember her." She was setting the drink down on the table when I said that. She had to come back because I asked her for a drink stirrer. I tried to look mournful as I pointed to the sky, kissed my palm, and took a sip from the straw when she returned. She looked so uncomfortable that I had to bite back a laugh. After that, she repeatedly avoided our table, as you could see. Well done, Op. While on vacation, there's nothing wrong with sipping a delicious cocktail. I appreciate you sharing, OP, and take care.